Hey everybody, I'm here with a quick story on Don Richard, who testified in the Diddy trial last week, and my thoughts on what's going to happen within the next few weeks. I feel like this thing is going to end up being a mistrial. If it's not a mistrial, then the prosecution is going to come to Diddy one more again and maybe come with a different plea deal and ask him to just take the plea deal, because right now this thing is a circus and it's a whole epic fail. I think the judge should have had a gag order on every witness. Nobody talk, nobody move until after we get a verdict in this trial. In addition to that, I think the judge should have sequestered this jury. There's no way on the face of this earth that jury going home every night after the trial, having this long extended weekend, are going to be able to avoid Diddy news and information. It's just humanly impossible. I don't care if you go to Google to order you some pizza, a French fry, some Starbucks, Uber Eats, or whatever. You're going to bump into a Diddy situation and you're going to be tempted to click in and just see what you see or listen to what you can listen to. So this is about Don Richard, ex-boyfriend Q from day 26, all part of the Diddy orbit, saying that he came out and said that Don Richard one day gave him a pill and claimed that the pill came from the boss Diddy. And it was two of them. One was supposed to be for him and one was supposed to be for her. He took his, but he claimed she didn't take hers. He said 20 minutes after he took it, he lost his mind. He was out of his mind. And when he came back and came to and woke up, he was in some other room. Something happened and he ain't been right since. He's been in therapy. He's been doing this. He's been doing that. Dawn responds, and that's where the problem starts. Dawn should have never responded. Where's her lawyer? Where's her common sense? But you know what? She responded. And she said, and I'm going to paraphrase real quick, I would never, ever, ever do such a thing. And she said, does this make sense? If I did, why was we still together after that? Why would he stay with me? So why would he stay with me? And she said, I'm not going to tell you the reason why we really broke up, because I'm going to protect him and I love his family. So I'm not going to tell you why we broke up. So I sat back and I said, Dawn, this is a bad look. See, when we run our mouth and don't even realize what we're saying without saying it. Dawn her defense is that if I gave him such a pill and all of this bad stuff happened as a result of me giving him this pill, she said, why would he stay with me afterwards? Well, Dawn, the same was asked of you, right? You claim you saw Diddy knock Cassie upside the head with a frying pan, but then you didn't see it, but then there was some eggs or wasn't some eggs, and you saw Diddy abuse her and this, that, and the other, and you was at a table and everybody saw Diddy punch Cassie in the stomach. You saw it, everybody saw it, so forth and so on. You saw all these horrific things that Diddy did to Cassie. And yet afterwards, you still wanted to work with him. You asked, could you be a solo artist? You still want to work with him. And when the defense came back and said, well, why would you do that? You said, because you needed the money. Well, maybe after you allegedly gave him the pill, he was still in love with you and he stayed with you. So, girl, if you're going to speak, you need a better defense than that. But again, where's your lawyer? You should have never said a word. Let me go ahead and share a screen so we can get more into this story. This is a mess. This thing is a circus and it's going downhill. In the prosecution, they don't need another holiday because too much is happening in between the days in court and off of court. It's a mess. So Dawn Richard breaks her silence after Q says she drugged him at Diddy's house. Dawn Richard is setting the record straight after shocking allegations surfaced from her ex-boyfriend Q Mosley of day 26. In a viral post, Q claimed that years ago, during a visit to Diddy's Hamptons estate, he took a pill allegedly given to him by Dawn, one he believed to be ecstasy. What followed, he described, was a blackout, memory loss, and a terrifying psychological spiral that left him traumatized. But Don says, not so fast. The former Danity Kane singer issued a firm and emotional statement denying the claims. I want to be unequivocally clear. I never drugged anyone, nor have I ever given anyone pills to take, she wrote. Don called the suggestion categorically false and said it doesn't align with the facts of their relationship or the trust they once shared. If such a belief was genuine, she added, it would be inconsistent with the actions that follow, like inviting me to your home, introducing me to your family, and continuing a relationship. Well, let's be clear. It seems like many people in the Diddy orbit experience some of the most horrific things that you would think known to mankind. And guess what they still did? Their actions were inconsistent. They did exactly this. They would still invite you to their home, introduce you to their family, and continue a relationship, whether it was a close, intimate relationship or a working relationship. So, girl, you sat on the stand and testified to this very thing that you're saying there. You were inconsistent with your actions, and that was part of Diddy's problem too. They say you teach people how to treat you. Most of these people in the orbit, they experienced the most horrific things. And guess what? They stayed in Diddy's face. And he stayed doing what he allegedly was doing to them. Q's post painted a chilling picture. He recalled collapsing into unconsciousness after taking what turned out to be a horse tranquilizer. When he woke up, he was in a basement room with no memory of how he got there. He claimed Dawn never took her pill and that he felt like a lab rat in an emotional experiment. He described lasting trauma from hallucinations to memory issues and emotional withdrawal, blaming what he saw as a betrayal of trust. But Dawn maintains she stayed silent out of respect. She says she never shared personal details about their breakup to protect Q and his family, and even now she urges compassion. So now she wants compassion, but you could have had compassion by not even responding, girlfriend, and going to his family because that little piece right there, it leads to think like something horrific happened as to their breakup, and she wouldn't dare say. So she wants to have compassion. So you're trying to paint him as being the crazy one. And I'm just going to have compassion, but I'm going to let y'all know. And I ain't never give nobody no pill. This isn't about one person, she wrote. My intention has always been to move forward with integrity. Dawn and Q's relationship began back in their Making the Band 4 days and lasted several years. Their love story was once in the spotlight, but this latest revelation brings a painful chapter to life as both navigate very different versions of the past. Oh, good God, this thing is loaded. They want this trial to go in the trash by doing all of this trashy mess in the social media while the trial is still going on. They want this, but this latest revelation brings a painful chapter to light as both navigate very different versions of the past. I told y'all on this channel many times that everybody in that Diddy orbit wants to rewrite history. And as they're rewriting the history, they forget the pieces that they did and how they participated allegedly and all of that. And it's rewritten as if they're the angel, Diddy is all the devil, and everything was on him. If you, Dawn, let's just roll with 1 minute that Q is telling the truth. If, Dawn, you have known that how Diddy was allegedly beating down Cassie, you was always trying to save Cassie and protect her, whatever, and this man gives you, the devil gives you 2 pills, and you take it to your man that you sleeping with and said, the boss told me to give this to you, and here, take it. You bringing that to your man? But let's roll with her side. She said it never happened. So is he getting the story correct or is he getting the story wrong? As more details continue to unfold, it's clear this is bigger than just a he said, she said. It's a story about trauma, healing, and the complexity of past relationships, especially when fame and power are involved. I think this is a story of let's rewrite history. And now I'm not saying Diddy didn't do what he did or what they alleging he did or whatever the case may be. But when they go to tell on the big bad wolf, so to speak, Diddy, they rewrite the piece of where they participated. Tell the truth and shame the devil. And the truth probably is, and I wasn't there, but I'm saying the truth probably is, just go up there and say, listen, we was all drugging, we was all drinking, things went too far, but we was all participating. Tell the truth and shame the devil, because Q also said it wasn't the first time they did stuff together. So he thought it was ecstasy, and then he later found out allegedly the pill was a horse tranquilizer. He thought it was ecstasy. He said it was a horse tranquilizer, and that's why he felt like an experiment. They was all, like that ex-assistant said, they were all Diddy bopping. And he said Diddy bopping is you take the substances and you drink his alcohol brand. At the time was that Ciroc and the other brand he had. The point of this story, though, is Dawn should have never opened her mouth. Judge, you don't know Diva, but I'm hoping somebody that knows you is watching. I'm hoping you're combing these social media streets, and I'm hoping that when you comb the streets and you're watching these videos, and I know it's tons of them, hoping you watching the big people and the little people like me. It's telling you some common sense here. Everybody needs a gag order, and you need to, on Tuesday, tell people it's you under a gag order. Shut up. Don't speak to the soul. After you get off this stand, have no more social media contact. Don't speak about this case. Don't say nothing. And if somebody put the mic in your face, say, I can't talk, ask for the judge until after this verdict comes through. And I don't want to run the jury's life, because you know what, when you agreed to be a juror, and sometimes you ain't really got a choice, but when they pick you and you okay with it and you doing your civil duty, I don't want to run your life. But this case is a case. This ain't about you somebody suing their employer or nothing like that. So you know what, y'all got to be sequestered. What did they got 6 weeks left because we 2 weeks down? I'm sorry. Call your uncle, call your cousin, call your brother, call your sister, call whoever to take care of the kid, the dog, your rent. But we got to sequester you. Y'all going to be over there at the Hilton. Yeah, I'm going to tell them to shut off the TV. We're going to put some board games in the room, some books. You could get the transcripts from the previous days, court days and the witnesses, and you study it and you comb over it and you dissect it in your room. Y'all can get whatever room service you want, but you can't go home. You can't. I guess if you got kids, we got to allow you to call the kids, right? Talk to the kids. Talk to somebody. We'll get emergencies through to you. But that's it. Y'all sequestered. Chat with me, guys, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Dawn Richards should have shut up. The judge should have issued a gag order on all the witnesses, and the jury should have been sequestered. Let me know if you agree with me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.